Hi, I'm Shelley Young, owner of the Chopping Block, and today I'm going to teach you how to cook beans. And what I'm talking about today is dry beans. I've got a few here. I've got some Christmas lima beans, some navy beans, some tongues of fire, some exotic ones. But what I want to start with is talking about how to select the beans. And this is a little bit challenging, I would say. When you go to the market, what you really want to do is get a fresh bean. And it isn't always easy to tell. So what I like to do is go to a market where I think they sell a lot of beans. Latin markets, they tend to use a lot of beans in the cuisine, so I feel like they're rotated regularly. The bulk bins at the grocery store is sometimes a great place. Wintertime, people use more beans, cook more beans, so that's a little safer too. But the reason you want a fresh bean is it gets nice and plump and cooks and gets nice and soft. If you ever cook it and it stays hard through the cooking, no matter how long you cook it, it's the bean, it's not you. Don't worry, you didn't do anything wrong. First step in cooking beans is to soak them. These are our Christmas lima beans. They've been soaking overnight in cold water at room temperature. This is a good sign when I talked about how fresh your bean is. They should be at least double in size when you soak them. And you know, oh, well, they're already kind of cooking, if you will, when you soak these. Here's our navy beans, again, so you kind of just compare the size. That's a really good sign. These look good. All I'm going to do with these is soak them for 24 hours, then I'm going to drain them and rinse them off. One other thing you might want to do before you soak them is just make sure there's no rocks or debris. You want to pull that out if there is. So I just drain my limas, rinse them, and I'm going to cover them with water. I'm using a low casserole dish here today. It really doesn't matter. You can use a deeper stock pot. You can even use a roasting pan, but it depends on how you cook them. This is a cast iron pot, cast iron lid. This holds the moisture in, really helps the beans from drying out and the water evaporating too quickly. Another thing you can do, and this is if I cook it all on the stove, this is a really great for that because it keeps the moisture in. You can also cook these in the oven. And that's really great if you've got other things to do. You can put them in a baking dish, cover them with foil. You can put them in this dish right in the oven and cook them in the oven at like 350 degrees until they're tender. And I find that the water doesn't evaporate, and that's a really easy way to do them. How long they take to cook, it's hard to say. I find anywhere from an hour to 4 hours. And I know that's a big variable, but it depends on the freshness of the beans. So the main other thing I want to say about this, the lima beans I'm just cooking plain, no salt. The salt helps to keep them from cooking. So we're always going to salt them at the end. The only thing I'm going to stick in these is a couple of bay leaves. You could put a little onion or carrots, aromatics, garlic if you want to, but I'm just going to leave these plain today. Cover them, low heat until they're tender. For our navy beans, I wanted to do just a classic navy bean soup. So this is about a pound of beans that have been soaked overnight, 2 carrots grated, and this is the celery. It's about 2 stalks of celery. I like to use the leaves, so it's probably closer to a cup of minced celery. 1 large onion diced. See if I can fit this all in here. 2 ham hocks. You can leave the ham hocks out if you like to, or you can use a turkey leg, smoked turkey leg too if you like. We're going to simmer this until the beans are tender. Pork is falling off the bone. And this is probably going to take about 2 to 4 hours. So our soup and our lima beans are done. The lima beans, Christmas lima beans, they took about an hour. They cooked relatively quick. All I want to do with these is season them with some salt. I'm going to drain them, and they're ready to be used in any way that I want to use them. One thing I want to tell you about beans like this, we're used to using canned beans, which I think are great, but you can cook them less expensively at home, and you can freeze these. So you can take those, put them in Ziploc baggies and freeze them. Beans freeze great. So you can pull them out and use them in your salads or your soups or as a side dish. The bean soup, the beans are cooked. The ham hocks were starting to fall from the bone. So I pulled my ham hocks out. They're quite hot right now. Normally I would let them cool a little bit longer than this. It's actually just falling apart as I'm pulling it out. There's a thick skin on these hocks. And there's little nuggets of meat in here. I'm not going to use the skin, and the bone will just be discarded. So if you just kind of take this apart like that, you can pull the visible meat off and throw the fat away. And I'll just mince this up, put it back in the soup. This also needs to be seasoned with salt and pepper. Our beans are perfectly tender and seasoned. We are ready to eat. And that is how you make beans.